Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Mark Castiglione with the Regional Planning Commission.
And Robbie McHugh with the Town of Colony EMS Department.
And my name is Carrie Ward and I'm staff at the Transportation Council. Calvin, can you just introduce yourself?
Sure. This is Calvin Young from CTTA, Capital District Transportation Authority. I'm the manager of operational performance.
Thank you. Andrew? Tracy?
Good afternoon, everyone. Andrew Tracy, Capital Region Transportation Council.
Leah?
Hi, I'm Leah Hines. I am an epidemiologist here in the New York State Department of Health's Bureau of Occupational Health and Injury Prevention.
And Carrie, I'm another Leah, although I'm a Leah, not a Leah. I'm Leah Rye, the Administrative Specialist at the Transportation Council.
Thanks. And Jill? We can come back to Jill. Ethan?
Ethan
Ethan
Warren,
Townsend.
Sorry.
Oh, two Ethans on this one too. Ethan
Sorry.
Townsend, Capital Region Transportation Council.
Ethan Warren.
Okay. Ethan Warren, CDTA.
Jenny?
Hi, my name's Jeannie Brown. I'm with the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Chris?
Hi, everyone. Chris Alfonso, New York State Department of Health.
Parker?
Hello, Parker Morris, transportation planner with the Transportation Council.
Audrey?
Audrey Bernison, New York State Department of Transportation, Region 1 Planning Unit.
Christina?
Hi, Christina Akey, New York State Department of Health.
Thank you. And Jill?
Jill Lamanna, New York State Department of Transportation. I'm the Safety Evaluation Engineer for Region 1, which is the Capital District.
Awesome. Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Next on our agenda is public comment. Is there anything anybody wants to say as public comment? All right, next up, Andrew, do you want to do an introduction? And Calvin, feel free to go ahead and share your screen.
Sure. Thank you very much, Carrie. Good afternoon, everyone. The first item on the agenda, the first presentation, we asked CDTA to come to the ROSAC meeting today and present an overview of the transit signal priority system that they're running here in the Capital Region. CDTA reached out to us a few weeks ago to ask for our help with reporting out of certain performance measurements of their transit signal priority system. And they gave us access to kind of a data dashboard to do that. And so I reached out to Calvin Young, Manager of Operational Performance at CDTA, and asked if he would be willing to present just a high-level overview of what traffic signal priority is and where it's in use in the region and how it works. So with that, Calvin, I'll turn things over to you. Thank you very much, Calvin, for joining us today, and go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, very welcome and glad to be here to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart and very important to our organization. So diving into it, these are the topics that I had in mind, from Andrew's request. So I want to talk a little bit about what does it do, how does it work, what is this TSP thing, why do we do it, why do we install all this technology, where they are, and how does it affect other folks in the region. So getting right into it. I know that I should try to keep this to about 15 minutes. I could talk about this stuff probably like all day. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try to keep it to 15 minutes. But please stop me along the way if there are any questions. So yeah, what does it do? It essentially allows our vehicles, or any vehicle really, to communicate with the intersection, to communicate with the traffic signal. And particularly the way that the systems are designed, when it's a bus like us, then we request something called low priority. There's also something called high priority. We don't do that. But particularly if it's a safety related vehicle, they could get a preemption, which you could think of as something much stronger and much more demanding. In that case, if the signal is programmed, then a preemption would just get the requests versus us where we request something low priority. It's perfectly possible that while we request something off the signal, we might not get it. Basically, at the intersection, so this is how the systems work. There are devices on our buses that allows for this communication. So our CAD-AVL system keeps track of where our bus is, whether or not it's on schedule or not. We have counters on our buses so that we also know how many people are on the bus. Our system will say, it seems like we're running late. We have quite a few people on the bus. we need to get through the next intersection quicker. So there's an emitter from the bus that sends the request out to something at the intersection, the detector that accepts that request. And that face selector or a detector takes the request and passes it along to the controller. Then at that point, the controller can figure out where in the signal timing plan it is. And based on rules and conditions that it has, it could decide no, that is not a good time, but it could also decide to extend the existing green, and then we can just drive right through the intersection. Or it might do the calculation and say, no, bus, you are probably going to hit that red no matter what, so we'll truncate the red and give you an early green. Hopefully that makes sense. It's actually somewhat straightforward, right? In a way. Cool. Moving on. So why do we do it? Particularly, we do it with our what I consider to be our premium routes. These are intercity routes, but particularly they have less stops, so they're kind of like express routes. So these are BRT lines, red, blue, and the purple. You can see on the map roughly where they take people. Yeah, here are all the reasons why we need this technology. We want to keep those lines running as quick as they can. That's a good experience for our riders. If we don't have to stop and go as much, that's fuel saving for us. And by shortening the runtime, what we mean by that would be from like a start point to an end point, right, of these routes. We could also control or minimize the amount of manpower that we need, which would be also cost savings for us. That's allowing us to move resources to other places and provide more service. It's very important for our on-time performance, getting to stops on time, keeping people where they need to go on time. Again, reduce amount of stopping, and that's going to represent a few savings. Better riding experience. And even though we only put our onboard devices on the buses that are dedicated to the BRT lines, we tend to along those corridors, there are other routes. And what usually happens is that our other routes will also get the benefit of it. In other words, they'll piggyback off of let's say, the extended green or the shortened red. For instance, let's say like Route 1 that's going to run on Central Ave. It's probably piggybacking off of the 905, the red line that's running on the same route, on the same street. But we want to also send this message, which is that TSP is great, but actually, it would be even better. The best thing for us would be dedicated transit lanes, actually, right? Because then we would just have right away, and we can go as quick as we need. Below that would be queue jumpers, which we have some of in the region. I think I have the number in the next slide. I think it's like 10 to 13. But beyond those, if we can't do dedicated transit lane and we can't do queue jumpers at key intersections, then yes, TSP is the next best thing. Cool. So yeah, where are they? I mentioned that we have 3 BRT lines that we're using these on. So you could read for yourself a little bit of the statistics on here. They sum up to 140 something intersections. And some of these intersections are used by multiple lines. So one that comes to mind is State and Pearl. That intersection is actually crossed over by all 3 lines. Depending on which intersection that we might be talking about, we have different equipment. So we did our most recent TSP installations and upgrades actually in the order that you're seeing. We did the red line, I think it was 2019, 2020. And the technologies actually improved since then. So when we did the red line, at that point, it was all IR emitters and detectors. But now we have video detection technology. So we've upgraded the ones in Albany for the red line for video detection. And then when we did the blue line and the purple line, which we did in the last 2 to 3 years, we mostly went straight to video detection. All right. Any questions so far? Keep going? Okay, cool. So what happens? How does it affect everybody else? I think one of the things that I do feel compelled to point out is the little graphic on the bottom right, which I was trying to be very cute about, which is that, yeah, essentially it is actually taking away time from one to the other, right? If the bus gets an extended green, then that extended time, somebody else got an extended red, right? And vice versa. However, what the controllers should be doing, though, to keep in mind, is that it should be programmed into the timing plans that they stay within the cycle. So in other words, if a cycle is supposed to be 60 seconds and a green was extended from 30 seconds to 35, then yeah, the red is going to be 25 seconds, and then you're still on the same cycle. So I mentioned before, other vehicles such as our buses, but everybody else also near the bus go in the same direction. They also get the benefit of being able to get through that intersection quicker. Pedestrians, they may get less crossing time, but that's actually totally dependent on the timing plan. It's just how it's programmed. And of course, being public transit, we are making improvements in terms of environmental. We're talking about fuel savings. That's also pollution and air pollution without the diesel buses. No, that there wouldn't be those considerations if we talk about our electric buses. And I could also talk all day about our electric buses too, but I won't bore you with that right now. But nevertheless, the economic benefits are due to a better traffic flow down a corridor. People, delivery trucks being able to get to where they need to go, so on and so forth. And also, I mentioned before in the beginning, these devices, particularly at the intersection, they don't just talk to our vehicles. You can enable emergency response vehicles with similar devices, and they would likely be programmed to either get high priority or most likely preemption. So with the same devices at these intersections, we could also improve response time for those kind of vehicles. With the newer technology, with the video detection, the technology is actually capable of doing even more things aside from just monitoring the video feed for itself to detect the bus. It could also do video count and do categorizations of the video count. How many cars versus trucks, those kind of things. It could do pedestrian count, and we would be able to reduce unnecessary pet calls, pedestrian calls, for crossing the street. And our next steps is that, yes, we've enabled our BRT lines, but what we would like to do is identify other priority intersections from our other routes and see where we might be able to improve traffic flow for those routes also. And when we do that, now the way that we're able to dedicate it to our BRT lines is that we dedicate buses to the BRT lines. And you've seen them on the street, right? They're red, they're blue, they're purple. When we do this, then we would be talking about our blue buses, which are kind of interchangeable So then what we will have to do is we'll have to make the investment of putting the onboard devices on basically all our buses. So it's quite the investment. We are definitely going to need help. But yeah, we're looking for ways to improve our service wherever we can. And also with the TSP installation, so on the right side, again, you could kind of read for yourself. A lot of advanced analytics that Andrew alluded to. With the TSP stuff, the intersection has to have communication. So if an intersection doesn't have it now, we end up adding it. I just talked a lot about video detection and what comes with it. Cloud-based access, it allows us to, again, this what Andrew was talking about, it allows us to go into a web page system to look at data and statistics. But the municipalities and you guys, CRTC, you guys can do that too. Integrate the traffic controller, and of course on our end again, it has to be integrated with our CAT AVL because of those conditions that I talked about. We want to make sure that we're requesting when we need it, when we're running behind, and we have the sufficient number of people on board. And that's it. Those were the things that I thought I talk about. I hope that was helpful. My information is on the left side there. Thomas Gugelsberg is my manager. He's the director of IT. And of course, he's been very intimately involved, even more so than me, with our TSP projects. So reach out to us if you have any questions.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Calvin. That was a lot of great information. If anybody has any questions for Calvin, go ahead and either raise your hand and unmute in Zoom or just type the question in chat and we can ask it to Calvin. I had a question to get us started, Calvin. On the red line, is there any difference in the TSP technology from one end to the other? Because we know that just from looking at your MileVision dashboard that all the signals in Albany all use kind of the new MileVision, but there's TSP on State Street in Schenectady as well. Is that the exact same set of technology?
No, it's not. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Again, because we did the red line, the whole red line back in like 2020, the video detection stuff wasn't available. We upgraded the ones in Albany, and particularly, they overlap with the purple line. But absolutely, the ones in Schenectady are not. They would be the older face selector stuff.
We have a question here in the room.
Calvin, Rob McHugh with the Colony EMS department. We had looked into the Opticom system. I believe they were bought out by MioVision or MioVision. So that's the platform that you folks are using for your requests?
Yes, it is. Yes, right. That's exactly it. Yeah, when we did the red line, they were called GTT. They got bought out by MioVision. All the video detection stuff are MioVision.
Can you briefly explain so each bus has to have some type of AVL detection in it, and the signal itself, each signal along the route has to have something in the signal controller. And you're saying that's already been built out across the red line and Central Avenue?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So the intersections, I think it's every intersection, if I remember right, it's every intersection that the bus will pass through. So yes, on board we have an emitter. The emitter sends a thing over to the GTT Opticom / MileVision detector. And then again, that detector talks to the controller. Yep, all those intersections all built out.
Thanks.
Oh, if somebody's interested in more of a full list, we should have that also. So you could ping me later.
Great, thank you.
Calvin, looks like there's a question in the chat for you. If you can use the technology to reduce PED phases, can you also use it to automate a PED phase so a button isn't necessary? Is that something you've looked into, automatic pedestrian detection?
No, and I'm afraid that one might be a little more of a question for MileVision in terms of video detection, what they would be capable of, because that sounds like that would be the video detection, sensing that somebody looks like they want to cross the street. So why don't I give them that pet time now? That's more of a MileVision question.
Yeah, Audrey, we looked into this a couple of years ago, the state of automatic PED detection, and there were vendors that suggested they could do it, but the remaining question was, is it MUTCD compliant? And I couldn't really arrive at a good answer for that. It seemed like there were some places where it was being piloted, but I hadn't seen any big rollouts, and a lot of the questions were around MUTCD compliance. Any other questions for Calvin before we move on?
I had one. Calvin, you mentioned that, so all of the Bus Plus vehicles have the transponders on them.
Yes.
I have noticed sometimes the Bus Plus vehicles are running a route that's not Bus Plus. So in that instance, and if it's going through one of the signals that has the technology on it, does it still request?
I have to, yeah, I have to check our KDVL parameters, but I don't think so. We may have set the parameters so that it's only when they're running on those routes. And then what you bring up is that sometimes you might also notice some blue buses on these lines, and those blue buses are would not even have the device, so they wouldn't be capable.
Right. Okay. And then another question, you were talking about, the number of people on the vehicle is relevant for what is being requested or what's being granted of it. So I'm familiar with, the counting of people getting on the bus in the front door, but sometimes people get off at the back door. Is the counting for people getting off as accurate as the counting for people getting on?
Yeah, so the system does do that. The accuracy, when we put that APC system, automatic passenger counter system, which does that, it looks at ins and outs. Yeah, when we looked at it and tested it at the time when we installed it, it did what the vendor told us, which was at 97% or above accuracy. So yes, hopefully I'm answering your question, which is, yeah, it's considering all those events and trying to keep track of how many people are actually on the bus at any particular time. So it's not just looking at ins, it has to look at outs to calculate load.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Calvin. Excellent presentation. Great information, learned a lot. I guess, Carrie, I'll turn things back over to you to run through the next agenda item.
Great. So I did put together a short presentation here just to keep things organized. The next thing on the agenda was just updates for the Capital Region Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. Our Transportation Council did adopt the final plan in September of 2025, which included that resolution saying that we aim to eliminate fatalities by 2050 and reduce serious injuries by 50% by 2050. To my knowledge, Scotia and Watervliet have also passed that same resolution with their local council and board. The Appendix A in the document, which is on the Vision Zero website still, has a local resolution template drafted out with some kind of blank spaces for your municipality, your county. So you're welcome to use that. Also, if you do want to use it and you don't want to fill it out, I'm happy to pull the numbers for you and fill it out for you. And then crash data viewer here on our website, the Transportation Council's website, under regional programs, there's safety and complete streets section. And then on the right, there's a link for something called crash data viewer that goes to the screenshot here is of the Power BI system with all of the crash data that was analyzed as part of the Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. It was 5 years of data. It is not super recent data, might have been through 2023. But that is all up there and it is pretty customizable. So you can select just your municipality or just fatal crashes or just bike fed crashes or just nighttime crashes. Pretty much, any category that you see something in, you can look at only those kinds of crashes in there. And the idea is that we will be able to update that on an annual basis with data that is downloaded from the NISDOT's CLEAR system. Okay. In terms of the data analysis, I just wanted to alert you to the fact that we did end up inserting the hotspot maps into the final plan, like one for Albany, Troy, Schenectady, because the regional level was kind of, it was hard, there was too many dots on top of dots. The systemic analysis, so the analysis of like where there's facilities that have a high risk for crashes, even if a lot of serious crashes hadn't happened there in those 5 years of data. There is a link in the document to that data, so you are able to look at it now should you want to do that. We are working internally here to host all of the data that's in the plan and like the static PDF maps on our website so that you can zoom in better. So that will include the systemic analysis. It just isn't on our website yet. So if you did want that for some reason, there's a link in the plan. And I will post this presentation and then you could click on that link also and it will get you there. One thing I wanted to bring up to you all as an upcoming task there was a recommendation in the Safety Action Plan was to convene an annual meeting of Governor's Traffic Safety Council grantees in advance of their annual call for projects to kind of coordinate curriculum and materials and kind of who's doing what. The table on the right here is, I don't know what year that was from, but it's a year of GTSC grants that we had throughout the region. So a lot of police departments get funds to do kind of enforcement activities. There's child passenger safety, which is car seat checks usually, and then community traffic safety are kind of other more self-directed tasks that people submit for. So I will be planning to put together some kind of meeting February or early March around the time that those call letters are going to come out so that we can see what's in there. So if you are not already actively involved in the Albany, Schenectady, or Saratoga traffic safety boards and you want to be invited to that or included in that, please let me know and I will add you to a list to not forget to include you in that when I do that. Okay. Actually, now I can't see the chat. Andrew, can you put that link that I had put in the chat back into the chat? So there's a whole bunch of recommendations in the Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. In addition to that GTSC annual meeting thing. And we are right now putting together our work tasks for the coming year. And so it's helpful for us if you can give us some feedback on what things you think are important that are listed in there. So this JOT form goes to a poll that has each of them in there and then just says, high priority for you, high priority, medium priority, low priority, I think is the options that are in there. So it'd be really helpful if you could go to that and click through it. There's a question for all of the things that were in there for, priority actions within 1 year, another question for actions within 1 to 3 years, I believe. And then another question, there's some things that I think might be happening in the region that I just don't know about. So there's another question to let us know if you are doing any of those things. And if you don't, none of the questions are required and none of the options are required. So if it's, you can feel free to skip down the list. If you don't care about any of the things. And then Andrew is logged in. So this is a job form on the job form website. Andrew is logged in and will be able to share the results with us. I think he's able to see also as people submit. So we wanted to pause here and give you a moment to go to the poll and fill it out for us, and then we can look together at the results.
We're at 0 submissions, but I'll let you know when they start rolling in.
Yeah, I think because it's all one poll, so you have to get through all 3 questions before you hit submit.
Yeah.
Get my phone, I'm curious.
Andrew, it sounds like we got one person in the room who submitted but didn't think the third page applied to him, and one who's currently on the third page.
We now have one submission.
That's, yeah.
When you submit, just give us a thumbs up in
I'm halfway
Zoom.
through the second page. This is a lot of reading.
Yeah. Andrew, how are we looking?
We're up to 4 submissions. I'm gonna hit refresh. Still at 4.
Okay, I'm gonna continue through the presentation.
Okay.
And then we can see who, if anybody is still working. Once I get basically to the next poll. Okay, so there was just a couple of things that I came across recently, that I thought people might be interested in. One of them is this, what all drivers should know about motorcycles brochure that, was put out by somebody who does work for the New York State Association of Traffic Safety Boards. I have some of them in the room here. They're just regular size, trifold brochures. I thought they were interesting because they do seem to be written more from the perspective of a motorcyclist, and they do talk about some differences in how motorcycles operate as opposed to vehicles, but it's, for drivers of automobiles. And the next thing was these e-bike safety posters. I have 4 of them, but I can easily get, many more. This is something that the New York State Association of Traffic Safety Boards, again, works to put together each year. They do a different topic. So it's a picture that I took of the poster. And uploaded it here, but they're regular size posters. So the graphics are e-bikes, and it's basically, encouraging people to wear their helmet when they're riding an e-bike. So I have those available if you think you might want one. I'm happy to give you some, or put you in touch with the people who have them. And additionally, they're looking for topics for next year. So I was going to bring this up to the Association of the other metropolitan planning organizations in the state and see if we have any insight for that. But if you have thoughts on, public messaging that is missing, that would be useful for people to have, they're looking for something in the beginning of 2026 to develop.
Carrie, along these lines, I mean, I think it's a great campaign. We certainly see plenty of people out there that aren't wearing their helmets with these e-bikes. And is there any way to scale some of these campaigns with CDTA on the phone? I mean, are there opportunities to push this messaging to billboards, to bus stops, to buses? It's one thing to hang up a poster locally, but certainly the people that are on the road, we want them to see these signs too in this messaging. Is there any opportunity for the region to kind of adopt a campaign or push a campaign
In different formats.
Formats other than just a poster?
Yeah.
CDTA, like on the side of a bus, at the bus stations, other billboard opportunities. That's normally done.
They definitely have done that in the past. I know we have partnered with CDTA in the past on some, I think it was regular bicycling safety messages a number of years ago. So there's certainly precedent for it. I don't know, Ethan or Calvin, if you want to chime in here.
I believe our Director of Business Development, John Scherzer, handles all those kinds of requests. So
yeah,
I'll find his email and put it in the chat.
Hey, Robbie, this is Jen Hogan.
Hey, Jen.
How are you? So speaking to e-bikes and e-scooters, we, of course, with the department, we here at the Department of Health collaborate. We are in consult with GTSE on all of the programs that we work through. And new for this year, we worked with the LELs and the program staff on weeding through the vehicle and traffic law on both e-bike and e-scooter. Because with these emerging issues, folks just don't know the laws, and especially with law enforcement, they can't enforce laws that they don't know. So that takes us back to the pedestrian CNBC campaign, and with all the training we do with law enforcement, even with regular bicycles and the helmet law. So Chris Alfonso, who's on this call today, with our staff here. We went through the vehicle and traffic law, pulled it all, apart, worked with GTSE. We have fresh, new for this year, these quick reference guides on e-bikes and e-scooters for law enforcement. And NYBC, the New York Bicycling Coalition, through their grant with GTSC, is actually conducting law enforcement trainings on e-bikes and e-scooters. So these are hot off the press. They're brand new. They are for law enforcement, but we have to educate our law enforcement too in this process. So I wanted to, I have not been on these calls in some time, but we have a great in-depth, like extensive toolkit of resources here at the Department of Health, in collaboration with, of course, GTSC and DOT. So that is new for this year with e-bikes and e-scooters, but I wanted to share that with the group.
Jen,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And new for this year, we're working on, in our new fiscal year, a law enforcement training video, so they can have that available to them in the roll call lineup. So that will be new for this year. Were you going to ask me something, Carrie?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, so like the updated e-bike, how to ride and the law enforcement brochures, are you from that also doing like social media posts or bus stop posters or other media?
So just like, and I compare it to CBC, our pedestrian safety program, we are building that toolkit now. But that will be part of our larger campaign, because we do, we do a lot of social media buys, and we will eventually get there, but we're kind of building right now. We need to build our stock of materials so then we can, get these media buys in place.
For the poster next year,
Yeah.
maybe include, wearing helmets is one thing, but showing the outcomes of how people get injured, or something that would be more confrontational, or at least less feel good than people smiling with helmets on. I don't know, are you seeing a dramatic uptick in people getting really injured with these e-bikes, or?
I don't think there's a general awareness for how dangerous they are, given the speeds and how fast people can go on these micromobility, these e-bikes. And it seems like there's a much younger population where they're buying these bikes, and it's just not seen as, oh, well, it's not a motorized bike, it's not a combustion engine bike, so it must not be dangerous. Where we all know the acceleration and the velocity, the speed really does kill. That's the issue. What I hear you pointing to too is, like, I've seen this in Canada, I've seen this in Europe, like they're pretty graphic and to the point campaigns around what happens, the pedestrians, what happens to people on a bike.
There was a big article in the New York Times on Sunday talking about the safety problems of e-bikes. Didn't read the whole thing, but it seemed they were implying that it was really significant.
And I think in general,
when you say children on e-bikes, what is that age group you're speaking to when you say children?
I've seen just in our community what look to be teenagers or younger on these.
Legally they shouldn't be on them.
Yeah.
And even just the simple facts, age, threshold,
sure,
speed limit, because you can buy, it's like the Wild West. You can buy them, they're not throttled, or a lot of them aren't.
Even lighting, we're noticing at night, dusk. We all know, like, fatalities go up dusk to dawn. That people are on these e-bikes without any type of other warning lights. So they're using streets, or they're on sidewalks, no lighting for their bikes.
Great, thank you. Jen, I see, we don't see everybody on our screen here, but I'm seeing that you turned your video on. Was there something else that you wanted to say?
No, I just, we have a lot to share. I don't know, my apologies for not, I haven't been to one of these meetings in quite some time. But we do have a lot to share. I saw, even in your plan here, we have a motorcycle safety work group. We have a Ride, Drive, Care campaign, which the work group, it consists of us and state police and Motorcycle Safety Foundation. So we have a lot of materials under these different umbrellas of the program area. So I think at some point we should share that with all of you.
Okay. Thank you. And then the final thing, just wanted to call your attention to in case you're working with, smaller groups or municipalities that might be interested in this. The National Safety Council's Road to Zero Network, the Community Traffic Safety Grants solicitation is open now. They look for innovative and promising approaches for implementing evidence-based countermeasures and then also performing research to address traffic fatalities and serious injuries. I think they do look at projects where you're gonna collect data to evaluate the impact of your project. And they focus on innovative implementation approaches and filling gaps or addressing the existing disparities in traffic safety. The deadline for that is January 16th. And their kind of minimum maximum grants are 50,000 to 200,000. And with that, Andrew, how are you? Thanks, Ethan, for putting John's email in the chat at CDTA regarding the advertising opportunities.
We have 6 submissions, but I can show the results if you want.
Sure. Is anyone still working on those 3 pages of questions in the priorities poll? Okay, I'll stop sharing and then you can.
Okay, can you see page 1 here?
That's blue.
It's blue.
I can see it, Andrew.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see it.
Okay, so we have 6 responses so far. I can refresh this if anyone else completes it, but this was, I guess, the first half of priorities on the first page. And the top bar for each question is individuals who said it's a high priority, and the bottom bar is for low priority. So I don't know if you wanted to go through each of these or not, Carrie, but it looks like continue to support the ROSAC for coordination. Most people put that as a high priority. And establish a community traffic safety team of locals, law enforcement, and community stakeholders. That one also was a high priority for most people.
Thanks. I think you can go to the next one.
Here's the second half of the priorities for the year 1 priorities from the first page of the survey. Again, looks like leverage public communications and events to publicize GTSC safety campaigns. Had a lot of support, promote partnerships and educate safety professionals. That had a lot of support as well. And down at the bottom, pursue new funding and innovative funding opportunities. 5 out of 6 said high priority. So you can continue to take the JOT form even after the meeting, and Carrie and I will roll up the results at some point and take a look at it and help that use that to help inform next steps for the Vision Zero program. Here's the medium-term priorities from the second page of the survey. So it looks like implement infrastructure programs to enhance vulnerable road safety safety on priority segments. That had a lot of support. And here's the second page of the medium-term priorities. There's a few here that have 3 out of 6 marked as high priority.
Thanks.
You want to see the next page?
Just quickly.
Okay. So indicate your agency's activity in any of the following. Looks like the red bar, people who are currently doing the activity, the orange if they're planning to do it, and then on this page you can leave it blank if you're not pursuing this activity. But it looks like there's quite a few that most agencies are currently implementing.
Okay, and there's just one more page, I think, right?
Yep, second page of agency activities. Okay,
Awesome.
I think that was all.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get a chance to complete the survey, you can complete it now or after the meeting, and then Carrie and I will download this report at a later date.
Yes. So the next thing I have on the agenda was our updates. So the first one was the Transportation Alternatives Program. It's just FYI that it's out. And also that the webinars are actually required. They're passed now, but you can contact NISDOT and they'll set up a way for you to certify that you have watched their webinar. I don't think there's anyone from NISDOT main office traffic and safety. So the last thing I heard about the roadway departure safety action plan solicitation is that it the decisions of which projects would be funded have basically been made. It just hasn't been made public yet, and it's the you know, the soon it will be released. In motion, our Metropolitan Transportation Plan was also adopted at our September 2025 meeting at the Transportation Council. And Tip?
Yep, I can provide a tip update. So the Transportation Council's new transportation improvement program for 2025 through 2030, it was adopted by our board over the summer. And since then, we've been in the process of rolling it up into the statewide tip update. That's been held up by 2 other regions elsewhere in the state. So you know, we got ours done in time. The statewide tip was put out for public review recently, I think just a couple of weeks ago. And it's in a 30-day public review period. And right now it's expected to be finalized statewide in January. I heard mid-January most recently. So that's the update. If you have any projects on the new tip that were awarded funding in the tip update that we did earlier this year, you can begin working on them. You can begin pursuing obligation on them. That's totally fine. And we'll give you another update as soon as the statewide tip is finalized.
And then the Technical Assistance Program.
Yep, I can speak to that as well. In the agenda and on our website, there's a link to the Technical Assistance Program, which is small scale planning studies that we, the Transportation Council staff, can do in-house. With assistance, depending on the topic area, from CDRPC as well. So if you or your agency has any you know, surface transportation issue, it could be related to safety or operations or, you know, parking, complete streets, freight, any other subject area that you just like some assistance with, some concept development work, some planning work, let us know. Go to our website, look at the Technical Assistance Program page. Applications are open all the time on a rolling basis. So go ahead and fill out an application or contact Carrie and I if you have an idea to run by us and you want to see if it would be a good fit for the Technical Assistance Program. But those applications are open all the time on a rolling basis.
Thank you. The last slide in my presentation is this one for presentation topics for this group, the Regional Operations and Safety Advisory Committee, for our 2026 meetings. The image on the screen is related to the option on Route 7 in Niskayuna from that project. But I have the 890 Pell project, the 378 bridge. There was an offer that I received related to work in Australia and New Zealand. That's the ones I have memorized. There's other ones in the poll though. And then if there's anything that you would like to present on that you're working on, we're open to those ideas as well. And while we're doing that, Robbie here in the room had a question.
And I know, Jen, you're here on the line. I copied you on an email earlier. We had a chance to meet with GTSC with Mary Richter and Mary Tanner Richter earlier, just to present our preliminary idea of pre-hospital blood, and the governor's traffic safety committee, GTSC, I guess the National Association. I happen to read on their website that 3 states have approved 402 funding for pre-hospital blood. Wasn't sure if anyone's heard what those states are. I'm surprised they didn't mention them, or if there were any other plans that anyone's heard for the more sustainable funding or funding opportunities when it comes to Section 402 funding.
I have not heard, Robbie, and I can look into it and try to figure out who those states are that receive the funding.
Great.
I know you were at Lifesavers, so there is a growing trend nationally to get more 402 funding available for this. So obviously there's movement, and those 3 states who signed up and are getting the funding, that's great news. So I'll see what I can find out.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks, Jen. Right, and then while you're working on that poll, we put proposed 2026 meeting dates following the same, every 3 months starting from now. In 2026 for March 12th, June 11th, September 10th, and December 10th. I'm pretty sure those don't conflate with any holidays or, school vacation weeks, but if they do, please let me know, and, we can move it a week forward or back. Are there any questions or problems that you're having with the presentation topics? Cool. Okay.
We've received 3 responses so far, so people are taking it.
Great. With that, we weren't planning, I didn't have a presentation thing made up to share the results of that. So we can go ahead and end the meeting, but please do actually finish filling it out and hit submit since you've hopefully already started, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having me.